Hi, my name is Jimmy, and I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic. I believe that I was born with this disease. I know that it runs in families. I've heard a lot of stories. It's been in my family as well. My grandfather had it, my sister, my uncle. So it definitely runs in families. I woke up this morning feeling great. Beautiful sunny day. And I was just so grateful that I didn't have a hangover. Because my life basically has been one big hangover. I've had tens of thousands of hangovers. And that wasn't a good way to live. I drank every night. I woke up every morning sick as a dog. In fact, it was always a struggle trying to control how much I drank so the hangover wouldn't be too bad. And I would get up in the morning and I'm sick as a dog and I gotta go to work and I feel like puking. And I'm like, oh God, why did I do this? I'm never gonna drink again. I'm definitely not drinking anymore, not tonight. And by noontime, I'm feeling a little bit better. And then by the afternoon, I'm feeling a little bit better. And 5 o'clock, I'm out the door, and 5:05, I'm in the liquor store getting my beer and my Southern Comfort. The local liquor store used to keep Southern Comfort in the refrigerator for me, a pint, so I could just drink it in the car. And it would be nice and cold, so I'd be buzzed before I even got home. And I just drank. I was born, I grew up in the 60s and the 70s, and that was a time of sex and drugs and rock and roll, and I chased them. And drugs are part of my story too, but this website is really all about alcohol. So anyways, I experimented with the drugs because everybody else did. I mean, I didn't know anybody that was straight. Back in those days, everybody was drinking and drugging, everyone. At least all the people I knew. And I lived in a house with a bunch of roommates and 5 bedrooms, 2 kitchens, 2 refrigerators filled with booze. No food, just booze. And ours was the party house. Every time I came home, I was at a party. And I liked drinking, I liked the buzz, but I didn't really like getting drunk. Because when you get really drunk, it's not a good place to be. You know, you're like, feel like puking, you're bouncing off the walls, you're feeling sick, you lie down, the bed is moving, and it's not a good place. I couldn't just get a buzz and stop at a point where I was comfortable. I always drank more than I wanted to. I knew that if 5 drinks is nice, 15 drinks isn't 3 times nicer. But I just couldn't for the life of me stop at 5. I just wanted more and more and more. And I always drank until the booze ran out, or I passed out, I went into a blackout, or whatever. And I would pass out in the chair, I would pass out on the couch, I would pass out on the floor, I'd pass out on the stairs between the first and the second floor. I hardly ever went to bed. I just drank until there was no more booze and then get up the next morning with a hangover. And I noticed that I drank more than my friends did. They would actually get up and go to bed, but I just couldn't do that. So I figured there must be something wrong with me. But I didn't know for the life of me what the heck was wrong, because I had a pretty good life. I had a job, I had a nice car, I had a nice girlfriend. I like people liked me, I did sports. My only problem was my damn hangovers. So I figured I must have some kind of a problem. I knew I had a problem with booze, you know, but I didn't know what it was. So I even went to a shrink. And I told him, I said, listen, the reason I'm here is because I have a problem with drinking and I don't know why I'm doing that. I figured there must be something wrong, but I don't know what it is. Can you help me control my drinking? And he said, well, let's talk about it, and let's talk about your childhood, and let's talk about your parents and your grandparents. And we made a lot of progress today, and give me a hug, give me a check, I'll see you next week. And after a while I realized it wasn't working. What he should have said is, hey, listen, the reason you drink is because you're an alcoholic and I really can't help you. Go to AA. That's where you can get help. And so I just kept on going, drinking and drugging and being hungover. 1975, I had my first drinking under the influence. I was at a convention with a company that I worked for, and my job after the convention was to get all the literature and the equipment and the booze the company entertained. They had a hospitality suite, and bring everything back home. And so I'm driving in a van full of equipment with a case of hard liquor next to me, getting totally drunk, out of my mind, on a highway, weaving around, and I got pulled over. But not by the cops. I got pulled over by ordinary citizens. They made a citizen's arrest and held me there until the police arrived. which was, I'm grateful for that, because in the process of doing that, they saved my life and saved their lives. So I wake up in a jail cell somewhere and oh God, what did I do now? How am I going to get out of this jam? But I managed to get out of it. A bail bondsman came out, took my credit card, bailed me out. I drove home. A couple of months later, I drove back, faced the judge, paid a $200 fine, and got away with it. Never told anybody, didn't tell any of my family, my friends, no one. Kept on drinking, had more car accidents. One time I totaled a nice Jaguar XKE, really pretty car, my father's car. Got away with that. My girlfriend, who was my wife, took the blame. She said she was driving. One time I almost fell off a roof, like a 3-story building, and almost killed myself. Passed out on the roof and almost slid off of it. And it just wasn't good. In 1980, I went to my first AA meeting. I don't remember my first meeting. I don't remember who told me to go. I just found myself going to this hospital on a Monday night and learning a little bit about AA and alcoholism. It was a large meeting. There were like 200 people there. And I saw that these people had a problem, and I knew they weren't drinking, and gave me a little bit of hope, but I just couldn't stop. The obsession to drink was just too great. They say it's a physical, spiritual, and mental disease, and I certainly obsessed. I would leave the meeting and drink. There was 3 different ways I could go home after the meeting, and every way was either a liquor store or a bar along the way, and I'd pick up. Once in a while I'd go without drinking, but usually I did. And but I learned a little bit about alcoholism, and that these people were sober, and you know, I was happy for them, but I just couldn't. I was too young to give it up. But I still kept on going to meetings and drinking. I couldn't get the program. Didn't really register. 1983, I went to my first detox. It was a hospital. I had a girlfriend who was an alcoholic, and she told me that she had been up there, and she said, you should really go. In the hospital, they may not stop you from drinking, but at least you're going to get an education. You're going to learn what you have. So I said, okay, I could use a vacation. Plus, family was putting pressure on me to get sober, and I decided to drive myself to the hospital. Little vacation. I got insurance. So I'm driving up to the hospital in another state, and I took a wrong turn, and what should have been a 2-hour trip ended up being a 5-hour trip. And on the way, I bought a bottle of Grand Marnier, because I really like that stuff. It's strong and it's sweet, and I'm drinking out of the bottle, getting totally plastered. And then I stopped in some town looking for directions, and I met some kid, and he was giving me directions to the hospital. Oops, I think we better shut this thing off. Okay, so he suggested we should smoke a joint, which I thought was a great idea, which really put me in la la land. But anyways, I did finally make it to the hospital. Well, I almost made it. The hospital is up on top of a big hill, and on the bottom of the hill, the cops are waiting for people like me. So I got arrested again, and I tried to explain to them that I'm going up to the hospital to get sober, and they said, no, you're not. You're coming with us. So they threw me in jail, and the hospital people came and they bailed me out and put me in the infirmary and gave me some little pills that I was supposed to take on a scheduled basis, but like a good drug, I didn't take them when I was supposed to. I saved them so I could take them all at once. And then I joined the general population. I started learning about alcoholism, and I did learn a lot. I learned about the morning drink. I learned about progression. I heard a lot of stories of just how bad people got. The thing that really made an impression on me, I finally learned something about the physical part of this disease. And they said at the hospital that when an alcoholic takes a drink, when a non-alcoholic person or normal person, regular person who's normal, when a regular person takes a drink, the body produces a enzyme. And the job of that enzyme is to take care of the alcohol, to break it down. So you get one drink, you get one alcohol, one enzyme, they do their thing and they disappear. But when the alcoholic takes a drink, the body produces 2 enzymes. And one of those enzymes that takes care of the drink, and the other enzyme is sitting around saying, hey, I got a job to do here. I need some alcohol. Okay, I have another one. So now you produced 2 more. You got 3 of them. One of them takes care of the drink. Now you got 2 of them saying, hey, we need a drink. All right, I'll have a double. I just produced 4 more. And then the more you drink, the more these things build up, the more you're all screaming for alcohol. And I said, that's what my problem has been all these years. is those goddamn enzymes. And I left the hospital determined that I would never drink again. And I didn't. I didn't drink for 9 years. But I didn't go to AA. I didn't have the tools to keep me sober. And I wasn't really totally sober because I still smoked pot once in a while, so I really wasn't sober. And I didn't drink for 9 years. But after 9 years, I picked up again. And I still remember it was a beautiful day. Everybody's out in the yard. But I didn't have the defense against this first drink. And I walked into the kitchen, and there's a big bottle of vodka sitting there, half empty. I said, gee, wouldn't a drink be nice? I totally forgot about the fact that I was an alcoholic. I forgot about the fact that I couldn't drink in safety. I forgot about the progression, the obsession. I said, yeah, a drink would be nice. So I picked up a water glass, filled it up 3/4 with vodka, splashed a little bit of orange juice on top, drank it. And within a week, I was back to being a full-blown alcoholic, drinking every day, puking, obsessing, hangovers. And then I drank for another 14 years. I couldn't put it down. I wanted to. During those 14 years, I went to AA on and off, but I just couldn't. The obsession was just too great. I would quit for 3 days, and then I'd want to drink so badly, I'd say, okay, well, I'll just drink. It's not like I'm giving up 3 years. I'll start getting sober again tomorrow. I'd quit for 3 weeks, and I'd pick up. I quit for 3 months, and I'd pick up. One time I went for 11 months, and I picked up. I just couldn't get it. And more jackpots. One time I fell down some stairs, split my head open. Somebody found me, thank God, brought me to the hospital. I'm going in and out of a blackout. And the doctors and nurses are laughing about this guy that almost killed himself through drinking. Embarrassing. And more car accidents and just jackpots. And again, just lousy life, having like this albatross around your neck. Always trying to stay sober. I mean, trying to, fighting the disease. I finally did manage to put the drink down about 8 years ago. And in AA, they tell you, it's a very simple program. Just don't drink, go to meetings, ask for help. Well, I never asked for help. I was trying not to drink, but I just never asked for help. And in fact, I asked somebody, I said, well, just who do you ask for help? Like another alcoholic? Do you ask for God? Because there's a spiritual component to this program, and other people will talk about it. And she said, well, both. So I said, well, maybe I should try prayer. Now, I never prayed in my life. I always believed there was a higher power out there, but I never went to church, didn't have any kind of relationship with a higher power. In fact, I really didn't believe in prayer because Jim Morrison said so. In one of his songs, he said, you cannot petition the Lord with prayer. And I believed that. It's like, I don't believe in magic. I don't believe in ghosts. I didn't believe in prayer. But I said, well, let me give it a try. So I got down on my knees and asked the higher power to keep me away from a drink that day. And I didn't drink that day. The next day I got on my knees again and asked the higher power to keep me away from a drink that day. I didn't drink that day either. And I did it again the next day and the next day, and all of a sudden, a week went by and a month went by, and it seemed to be working. I still smoked pot a couple of times, so I said, well, listen, I really gotta quit the pot as well, because you can't be halfway sober. It's like being a little bit pregnant. You're either sober or you're not. So I decided to put down the pot. I asked God to keep me away from a drink and a drug that day, and I didn't drink that day either, or smoke pot. And the next day and the next day, so I was able to put that down. Then I asked my sponsor if I should change my sobriety date, and he said, well, what do you think? So I did. And then I've been just following the program, going to meetings. I go to as many meetings as possible. I go to 4 or 5 meetings a week. They recommend that somebody trying to get sober, they should go to 90 meetings in 90 days to really get some sobriety inside them. And it's a fellowship. This website isn't meant by any means to be a substitute for AA. Because you meet people, you talk to people, you get a sponsor, you go to meetings, you go on commitments, you read the literature. There's 12 steps. There's a lot to it, and I recommend anybody having a problem with alcohol to really just go and hear some of the stories. But it's working. So I haven't had a drink for 8 years. I go to meetings. I have a job that I'm around alcohol a lot. and people are offering me alcohol all the time, and I say, no, no, thank you. And I'm at a function, and this little 80-year-old lady goes up to the bar, and she gets a big, huge martini. I'm looking at her, and I say, my God, how can she drink this? She's going to be blasted. And I'm jealous and revolted at the same time. And I'm sitting at a table, and the waitress comes over and says, would you like white or red wine? And actually, I want them both, but I say, no, no, thank you. I take the champagne glass that's sitting in front of me, I push it in the middle of the table, and I sit there and have my water and my Diet Coke. And people are, putting drinks in my hand. Here, have a drink, have a drink. And it's like, no, no, thank you, because I go to AA, and that gives me the defense against the first drink. And again, I'm very, very grateful to this program. It's given me my life back. I can enjoy things. I always thought you had to be drunk to have a good time, and you really don't. In fact, when you drink, you miss a lot of life. When I was young, I would get really drunk to go to a party, and you get to the party and you pass out, and you wake up at 2 o'clock in the morning and the party's over. I was watching TV, James Brown on TV with my wife not too long ago, and she says, remember when we went to see James Brown? I said, no. She says, you were so drunk that night I could have killed you. So I went to see James Brown in a blackout. Well, I guess I hope I had a good time. But anyways, I'm really, really grateful to have received my sobriety, and I'm going to try to get some more stories on this website. People that I know, I've heard some really incredible stories that are really funny. Here's the kind of place where you can go and have a cup of coffee and have a donut and contribute $1 to the pot and listen to people's stories, and people tell their most embarrassing moments of their life, and everybody laughs and everybody claps, and it really is a fellowship. So I would certainly urge anybody to give it a try. So thanks for listening. Again, my name is Jimmy, and I'm an alcoholic. Thanks.